The softening up process begins as the big boys of the Far Eastern Air Force drop 2,500,000 pounds of bombs. Battleships fire salvos into the area of Tonopah, 6,000 tons of steel, 100,000 40-millimeter shells, 70,000 rounds from the big guns, 12 million pounds of punishment. LCVPs move toward the beach. 5,000 yards from shore, they turn, retrace their steps. They are empty of landing troops. This has been a diversion. 1,000 enemy forces spread out, so they cannot concentrate on our real objectives. The sky is ours. 4 days ago, a 225-plane fighter sweep of carrier-based aircraft surprised the Japanese in the Marianas and destroyed 150 in the air and on the ground. As our first waves of Amtraks near the beach, the planes moved their points of aim inland, maintaining a 100-yard area of minimum safety between us and their explosions. The Japanese play no favorites. Their artillery, mortar, machine gun, 75 millimeter, and small arms fire is everywhere. All 4 assault battalion commanders of the 2nd Marine Division become casualties in very short hours. On Red Beach, the 6th Marines suffer heavy losses. Some wounded waiting for evacuation become twice wounded. An abandoned enemy tank suddenly comes to life. Scores repeated hits on following waves of Amtrak. On Green Beach, a Fetna Point, the 8th Marines come up against a series of enemy pillboxes. On Yellow Beach, at a Gingan Point, the 4th Marine Division catches it. Our wrecked Amtraks congesting the beach, plus enemy action, force the withdrawal of the LVTs, carrying with them many machine guns and much ammunition and equipment. We will be short of communications equipment for 3 days. Enemy 75s fire at us from the front. 2 bypass mortars from the rear. Planes silence the mortars. LVTAs from the Army's 708th Amphibian Tank Battalion act as decoys, saving many of the Marines in the troop-laden Amtrak. On Blue Beach, the 23rd Marines advance to the town of Sharon-Pinoa. Resistance is light. It is seized, and they pass on to the Phase 1 line. We have trouble getting our tanks ashore. One company loses 10 of 14 to high surf, enemy action, and wet wiring. Their remaining 6 are sent to another beach. 5 are lost in deep water. 1 reaches the shore. 5 arrive out of 20. Finally, 14 are accumulated and are sent to help the advance near a Fetna Point. 5 enemy tanks contest the advance. It is ruled no contest.
D-Day evening found the 10,000-yard beachhead punched a maximum of 1,500 yards inland. Artillery was up and firing. Tanks and division command posts were ashore, but the situation was far from good. The Japanese still dominated the heights and had plenty of artillery and ammunition. Our lines were not integrated, and an effort to close a serious gap in them was unsuccessful.
Their counterattack is well organized, launched in battalion strength. When it is beaten off, 700 Japanese are dead around us.
But we were worried. Our progress had slowed too. We had not closed the gap in our lines or gained the heights, and their artillery fire was weakening the effectiveness of our tanks. Casualties had reached 3,500. We threw our lone battalion from reserve to combat, and all our troops were committed. If we slowed to this pace, the entire operation was in jeopardy.
On D3, the Army Division captures Aslito Airfield and prepares to move against Nafutan Point. Inland, the Marines prepare to attack every one of the myriad strong points which house the enemy positions. 500, 790, 600, Topocho, the Four Pimples, Tipo Pali. Rocket launchers unload their cargoes with telling effect. This cliff dominates the approach to Mount Topocho. Attempts to move great numbers of troops in the face of its fire would be impossible. Another route must be found to the top. From an observation plane, a road is seen which is not visible from the ground, and we put it to use. One day. 2 days. 3 days. 4, 6, 8. 10 days of battle, and enemy tanks charge out from the town of Garapan. They do not rejoin their units. On June 26th, we mop up Cagman Peninsula. This shortens our broad front, provides excellent terrain to build an airfield. We have conquered 6 miles. It has taken us 11 days. Somewhere ahead, in a cave, on a cliff, in a valley, Admiral Nagumo waits and sees the rising tide of destiny that will destroy him. The strong point on Tipo Pali still holds out. It continues to defy us for days. The Four Pimples, Flame Tree Hill, Radar Hill, 721, 767, Kirikiri Gulch, and Paradise Valley. In this misnamed sector of the Inferno, Nagumo has his headquarters. We whittle away. 12 days. 13. 14. 17. 18. 19. 20. 21. 22. Rugged by day. A nightmare of infiltration, banzai, and hand-to-hand combat by night. Each wounded means the loss of 9 fighting men. It takes 8 to carry him to the rear.
In combat, you sense things that you can't always pull. Before the invasion, I had selected the spot where I felt the banzai charge would be made. On D-Day plus 22, all things pointed to its readiness. In the late afternoon, I personally advised my corps of the possibility of a suicidal banzai charge. When it came, it was the most destructive I ever saw.
At 4 a.m. on the morning of July 8, 1944, General Saito's farewell message is read to his troops. Elsewhere on the island, Admiral Nagumo kneels, facing toward the east. The sacrificial knife. 3 honorable words. After 2 years, 7 months, and 1 day, the backwash of Pearl Harbor has inundated its attacker. Thus inspired, 3,000 well-organized and well-directed enemy advance across the railroad right-of-way. American outposts are scattered and overrun. The 1st and 2nd Battalions, 105th Army Infantry, are overwhelmed by sheer weight of numbers. Observers on the heights behold a strange sight. Marching behind the charging riflemen come the halt, the sick, the injured, men on crutches, men in bandages, men without hope, come forth to die. Batteries H and I, 10th Marine, 2nd Division, face the assault with 105mm howitzers. On the enemy comes. The Marines cut their fuses to burst at 150 yards, then 100, then 50, then at muzzle point, but still the enemy comes. Hastily, the crews decommission their weapons, grab rifles, and retire to fight as infantry as their position is overrun. Then company clerks, messmen, command post personnel, cooks, bakers, messengers, and bandsmen. Fighting Marines first, specialists second. All grab rifles, machine guns, grenades, and retake the lost territory. The banzai lasts until noon. By actual count, the Army lists 4,311 enemy dead, and we have lost 500. Ratio, 8-to-1. We move into the tedious job of mopping up. Only Marpy Point remains to be taken, and the island will be ours. We have expended 150,000 artillery shells, 15 million rifle and machine gun shells, 90,000 rounds of mortar fire, and 125,000 hand grenades.
As Army and Marine units prepared to hammer the final piston blows on Saipan, we paused. We appeal to the civilian population to pass through our lines to freedom and dignity. Mere scores responded. We appeal to the enemy soldiers to cease their futile resistance. A handful complied. Others, like this fella, pretended to accept, then tried to kill us with a grenade. We had no recourse but to fight on. What sends this man to face death? Pride in his country, its principles, in himself as a man. What sends this exposed American against a hidden enemy? History. He walks in the footprints of Valley Forge, the Little Big Horn, Bellow Woods. What sends this man forward when every instinct says, wait? Tradition, his father's yardstick, against which he stands to be met. What sends this man through enemy fire to rescue a fallen comrade? Esprit de corps, love of his fellow Marine. What inspires this man, imprisoned by treads of the enemy tank, to render this service above and beyond? Love of country, its righteous cause, lessons learned at his mother's knee. A question abounds in the land. Is our military indoctrination too rugged? This is your son. War has brought him here. War has made him to fight. Will you have him lean and trained and fit, able to defend himself? Or will you, with softness, rob him of confidence and his best chance for survival? As a nation, we have been ferocious in battle. The enemy knew this. In victory, we are forgiving. But on Saipan, hundreds of Japanese civilians and native Chamorros did not believe our guarantees of safe surrender. On the cliffs of Marpy Point, a generation stands. Pleas to surrender are ignored. Into the abyss, fought. Why this senseless suicide? Indoctrination, Since the Japanese occupation in 1914, they've heard lies about American barbarism. Into the abyss, child. Why this needless sacrifice? Indoctrination. Since 1914, they've heard lies about American brutality. Into the abyss, mother. Why? Indoctrination, lies, hatred, and they have believed. Across a major portion of the world, an iron curtain has descended. And there, too, this indoctrination of hatred for our country has begun. Now is no time to weaken our own. So let us teach pride in America, for if you weaken it, incentive dies. Teach our history, for if you delete it, example is lost. Teach our traditions, for if you omit them, comparison vanishes. Build esprit de corps, for if you soften it, the will to win will shrivel. This must never happen to our country.